Admiral Zextar stood in the broken command center and watched his world burn. Through the cracked windows, he could see the enemy ships in the sky. They looked like black metal birds, but these birds brought only death. Orange fire bloomed across the city as more bombs fell from above. The Catalian Republic was dying, his people were dying, and there was nothing he could do to stop it. "Sir, the eastern defense line has fallen," reported Captain Kolomir from his damaged console. The young officer's blue skin had turned pale with fear. "The Vorthak ground forces will reach the capital in 6 hours. Zextar closed his 4 eyes and tried to think. The Vorthak Empire had been hunting his people for 3 years now. They had already destroyed 11 other worlds. The Catalians were traders and explorers, not warriors. Their ships carried goods between the stars, not weapons of war. The Vorthak were different. They lived for war. They enjoyed killing. They took prisoners only to use as slaves. Every species they conquered either served them or died. There was no third choice. "How many ships do we have left?" Zextar asked. 17. "Sir, most are damaged. The Vorthak fleet has over 200 vessels." Zextar opened his eyes and looked at the tactical display. Red dots showed enemy positions. There were so many red dots that they almost covered the screen. The few blue dots representing his forces looked lost among them. A new voice spoke from behind him. "Admiral, there might be another way." Zextar turned to see Dr. Velnara walking through the debris. The old scientist moved carefully between the broken pieces of equipment. Her research robes were torn and dirty, but her eyes still held hope. "Doctor, unless your science can create a fleet from nothing, I do not think it will help us now." Velnara reached into her bag and pulled out a strange device. It was about the size of a human book, made of dark metal that seemed to bend light around it. Strange symbols covered its surface, and they seemed to move when no one was looking directly at them. "This artifact was found on Xerion Prime in the Dead Zone," she said. "The world was destroyed long ago, but this survived. My team has been studying it for 2 years." Zextar had heard about Xerion Prime. It was a dead world on the edge of known space. Something had killed everything there, but no one knew what. Ships that went there came back with strange stories about voices in the dark and shadows that moved on their own. "What does it do?" he asked. "We believe it is a summoning device. The inscriptions speak of warriors from between the stars, beings that exist in the spaces between realities. The ancient texts call them the sleepers who wake when called." Another explosion shook the building. Through the windows, they could see Vorthak dropships landing in the distance. Black smoke rose from a dozen fires across the city. "You want to summon something we do not understand?" Zextar asked. "Something from another reality?" "The texts warn that these beings are dangerous," Velnara admitted. "But they also say they answer calls for help. They come when innocent people are about to die." Captain Kolmir looked up from his console. "Sir, the Vorthak are broadcasting again. They want us to surrender in the next hour, or they will start killing civilian populations." Zextar knew what that meant. The Vorthak always kept their promises about killing. They would start with the children and the elderly. They would make the adults watch. They would broadcast it to other worlds as a warning. He had seen the recordings from other conquered planets. The Vorthak did not just want to win. They wanted everyone to be afraid of them. Fear was their favorite weapon. "How long would it take to activate this device?" he asked. "Minutes, if we use the main power grid," Velnara said. "But Admiral, the warnings in the text are very clear. Once we call them, we cannot control what comes through. The ancient race that made this device, they disappeared after using it. We do not know what happened to them." Another officer ran into the command center. "Sir, Vorthak ground forces have broken through Sector 7. They are using civilian areas as cover. Our forces cannot fire back without hitting our own people." Zextar felt something break inside his chest. His people were gentle traders and explorers. They built cities full of art and music. They solved problems by talking, not fighting. The Vorthak had turned all of that into weakness, but maybe weakness could call for strength. "Doctor, prepare your device," he said. "If we are going to die, let us at least try to take them with us." Velnara nodded and began connecting the artifact to the power systems. The strange symbols on its surface began to glow with a cold blue light. The air around it started to feel heavy, like the moment before a thunderstorm. "Sir, are you sure about this?" asked Captain Colmere. "We do not know what we are calling." "We know what we are facing," Zextar replied. "The Vorthak will kill everyone on this world, men, women, children. It does not matter to them. At least this way, we might save someone." The device hummed, louder. The blue light spread across the room, making everything look strange and distant. Velnara's hands moved over controls that seemed to shift and change as she touched them. "The dimensional barriers are weakening," she reported. "Whatever comes through will arrive in the space above our world." "Sir, incoming transmission from the Vorthak Fleet Commander," said another officer. "Put it through," Zextar ordered. The main screen filled with the image of War Chief Thrax. The Vorthak leader was massive, with thick armor and scars covering his gray skin. His red eyes burned with the joy of coming victory. "Catalian Admiral," Thrax said in his rough voice, "your time is up. Surrender now, and I will allow half your population to live as slaves. Refuse, and I will burn this world until nothing remains but ash." Zextar looked at the artifact. The blue light was now so bright it hurt to look at directly. The air itself seemed to be tearing apart. "War Chief Thrax," he said calmly, "I have a message for you. Speak quickly, pray. My patience grows thin. We refuse your terms, and we are not alone." Thrax laughed, a sound like metal grinding against stone. "You have 17 broken ships. I have 200. Who do you think will help you?" The artifact reached full power. Reality split open like torn fabric. Through the tear, they could see something moving in the darkness between stars. Something was coming. "We called for help," Zextar said. And something answered. The transmission cut off as space itself cracked open above their world. Captain Jake Morrison was drinking coffee when his ship suddenly appeared in another star system. One moment, the Earth Defense Coalition battlecruiser Defiance was on patrol near Mars. The next moment, every alarm on the bridge was screaming, and the stars outside looked completely wrong. "What the hell just happened?" Jake asked, spilling hot coffee on his uniform. Lieutenant Amy Rodriguez looked up from her tactical station. Her fingers moved quickly over the controls, trying to make sense of the readings. "Sir, we are not where we were 10 seconds ago. All navigation systems show we are in an unknown star system." Jake set down his coffee cup and moved to his command chair. Around him, his crew worked to figure out what had happened. The bridge lights flickered as the ship's systems tried to adjust to whatever had moved them across space. "Engineering report," he called into his comm. "Captain, this is Commander Pete Sullivan. We have a problem down here. Our engines show we just traveled about 40,000 light years in an instant. That should not be possible." "Tell me something." "I do not know, Pete. Can you get us home?" "Working on it, sir. But first, you might want to look outside." Jake turned to the main screen. What he saw made him forget about going home. A planet hung in space before them, and it was under attack. Hundreds of alien ships filled the space around the world. Most of them were black and angular, like someone had built warships from broken glass and hate. They were firing down at the planet's surface. But there were other ships, too. Smaller, ones that looked different. These ships were trying to defend the planet, but they were losing badly. "Amy, what are we looking at?" Jake asked. "Scanning now, sir." Amy's hands moved over her controls. "The planet shows signs of intelligent life. Multiple cities, technology, radio transmissions, the attacking ships. They are not from this system." "How? Do you know?" "The defending ships are sending out distress calls. I am running them through the translation computer now." Jake had never seen alien ships before. No human had. Earth's first contact protocols were all theory and hope. But watching one group attack another, he did not need a translation to understand what was happening. "Sir, I have something," Amy said. "The translation computer is making sense of their signals. The defending ships are asking for help. They say their species is called Catalians. The attackers are called Vorthak." More alarms sounded. "Captain, 2 more ships just appeared near us," reported Lieutenant Sam Carter from the sensor station. "They are human ships. The destroyer Vengeance and the heavy cruiser Retribution." Jake opened a channel to the other ships. Vengeance and Retribution, this is Captain Morrison of the Defiance. Did you just get pulled through space too? Affirmative. Defiance, came the reply from Captain Lisa Chen of the Vengeance. 1 minute. We were near Earth, now we are watching an alien war. Any ideas? None yet, Jake replied. But those defending ships are asking for help. Captain Ryan Torres of the Retribution joined the conversation. Jake, our orders are to protect human interests. These are not humans. No, but someone is getting massacred down there, Jake said. And we might be the only ones who can help. He watched the main screen as another defender ship exploded under Vorthak fire. The alien vessel broke apart in silence, its crew lost to the void. Sir, incoming transmission, Amy reported. It is from the planet. They are trying to talk to us. Put it through. The main screen changed to show an alien face. The being had blue skin and 4 eyes. It looked old and tired, but there was hope in its expression. Unknown vessels, the alien said through the translation system. I am Admiral Zextar of the Catalian Republic. We called for help using an ancient device. Are you the answer to our call? Jake looked around his bridge. His crew waited for his decision. They were 3 human ships in unknown space, facing aliens they had never seen before. This is Captain Jake Morrison of the Earth Defense Coalition ship Defiance. We are here, but we do not know how or why. Captain Morrison, my people are dying. The Vorthak Empire has come to destroy us. They kill entire species for fun. We have no weapons that can stop them. Jake could see the desperation in the alien's 4 eyes. What do you want from us? Help us fight them, or help us escape. Anything is better than watching my people become slaves or corpses. Before Jake could answer, new alarms sounded. Sir, the attacking ships have noticed us, Amy reported. 3 of them are moving to intercept. On the screen, Jake could see 3 black Vorthak ships turning toward the human vessels. They were big, covered in weapons, and moving fast. All ships. This is Morrison, Jake said on the fleet channel. We have incoming hostiles. Rules of engagement? They shot first at the planet, Captain Chen replied. That makes them aggressors in my book. Agreed, said Captain Torres. These Vorthak things are attacking civilians. Time to show them why that is a bad idea. Jake turned to his crew. Amy, target the lead Vorthak ship. Pete, give me full power to weapons and shields. Sam, plot an escape route in case we need to run. Sir, should we warn them first? Asked Amy. Jake thought about it for a moment. Then he looked at Admiral Zextar's face on the screen. The alien was trying not to hope too much, but Jake could. See the desperation there. Amy, open a channel to the Vorthak ships. Channel open, sir. Vorthak vessels, this is Captain Morrison of the Earth Defense Coalition. You are attacking civilian targets. Withdraw immediately or we will stop you. The answer came quickly. The voice was rough and mean, like metal scraping on stone. Human vessels, you do not belong here. Leave now or be destroyed. The prey world belongs to the Vorthak Empire. They called us prey, Sam said quietly. Big mistake, Pete added from engineering. Jake stood up from his command chair. All ships, weapons free. Let us show them what human prey looks like when it fights back. The Vorthak ships opened fire first. Bright energy beams reached across space toward the human vessels. But the human ships were already moving. Jake felt the Defiance turn under him as Amy brought the ship around. The Vorthak weapons hit empty space where they had been moments before. Return fire, Jake ordered. The Defiance's magnetic acceleration, cannons spoke. Solid metal projectiles accelerated to incredible speeds, crossed the distance between the ships in seconds. The lead Vorthak vessel's shields flared and died. The projectiles punched through its armor like it was made of paper. Direct hit, Amy reported. Their shields are down, and they have massive hull damage. Good. Target the next one. Around them, the Vengeance and Retribution were also firing. Captain Chen's destroyer was smaller but faster, dancing around Vorthak. Weapons while its guns tore chunks out of enemy hulls. Captain Torres's heavy cruiser was built like a fortress, taking enemy fire and sending back twice as much. In less than a minute, all 3 Vorthak ships were either destroyed or drifting helplessly in space. Sir, incoming transmission from the Vorthak fleet, Amy said. Put it through. A new alien face appeared on screen. This one was bigger than the first, with gray skin covered in scars. Red eyes burned with anger and surprise. "What are you?" the alien demanded. "Your ships use primitive weapons, but they cut through our best armor. What species are you?" "We are humans," Jake said simply. "And we do not like bullies." The alien's red eyes went wide. "Humans? That name is not in our database. Where do you come from?" "Somewhere far away. But we are here now." The alien was quiet for a moment. Then it spoke again, and its voice sounded different, less certain. "You destroyed 3 of my ships in minutes. How?" Jake smiled, but it was not a nice smile. "That was us being careful. Do you want to see what happens when we stop being careful?" The transmission ended. On the tactical display, Jake could see the Vorthak fleet pulling back from the planet. Admiral Zextar's face appeared on screen again. The alien's 4 eyes were wide with amazement. "Captain Morrison, in 3 years of war, no one has ever made the Vorthak retreat. How did you do it?" Jake looked at his crew. Amy was already planning their next attack. Pete was running damage, reports, and finding no serious problems. Sam was tracking every Vorthak ship in the system. "Admiral, we just got here," Jake said, "and we are just getting started." War Chief Thrax stared at the reports from his ship commanders. 3 destroyers lost in less than 2 minutes. The crews were dead, and the ships were floating scrap metal. He had never seen anything like it. "Commander Vexcott, explain to me how 3 unknown ships destroyed a full battle group," he growled. The smaller Vorthak shifted nervously. "War Chief, their weapons appear to be simple projectile accelerators. But the projectiles move at impossible speeds. Our shields could not stop them." "Projectile weapons?" Thrax laughed, but there was no humor in it. "We stopped using such primitive tools centuries ago. How can metal bullets defeat our energy shields? The metal is moving at 30% of light speed, sir. At that velocity, even a small piece of metal carries the energy of a nuclear bomb." Thrax turned to look at the tactical display. The 3 human ships were positioned between his fleet and the planet. They looked small compared to his massive dreadnought, the Bone Crusher. But small things could be dangerous if they moved fast enough. "What do we know about these humans?" "Nothing, sir. They are not in any database. Their technology appears to be a mix of advanced and primitive systems, but they fight like—" Vexcott paused. "Like what?" "Like predators, sir. They moved to attack. Positions before we finished our threat assessment. They fired the moment we showed aggression. They think like hunters." Thrax had conquered 47 worlds. He had seen every type of species the galaxy had to offer. Peaceful traders like the Catalians, warrior races that fought with honor, even hive minds that thought as one organism. But he had never seen anything that fought like these humans. "Send in Battle Group Talon," he ordered. 12 ships. Tell them to be careful, but show these humans what happens when they interfere with the Vorthak Empire. On the human ships, Captain Jake Morrison watched 12 new Vorthak vessels break away from the main fleet. His tactical officer, Amy Rodriguez, was already calculating firing solutions. "Jake, we have a problem," came Captain Lisa Chen's voice over the comm. "I am picking up broadcasts from the planet. The Vorthak have ground forces near civilian areas. They are using the civilians as shields." Jake felt something cold settle in his stomach. "Show me." The main screen changed to show feeds from the planet's surface. Vorthak soldiers were forcing Catalian families to stand between them and the planetary defense forces. The aliens looked, terrified, holding their children close. "Sir, the Vorthak commander is transmitting again," Amy reported. The scarred alien face appeared on screen. "Human ships. You see our ground forces. They are protected by the civilians your new friends care about. Attack us, and you kill innocents. What will you do now?" Jake looked at the images from the planet. Catalian children pressed against their parents. Elderly aliens too scared to move. Families torn apart by war, now being used as living shields. "You, coward," Jake said quietly. "I am practical," Thrax replied. "Civilians die in war. At least this way. Their deaths serve a purpose." Jake closed the channel and turned to his crew. "Amy, can you target the Vorthak positions without hitting civilians?" "Not with conventional weapons, sir. They are too close together." "Commander," Pete Sullivan's voice came from engineering. "Captain, I might have something. Our nuclear torpedoes can be set for precision detonation. If we program them right, we can create directed explosions. Explain. We detonate the torpedo above the Vorthak position. The explosion goes down, not out. Think of it like a shaped charge. The civilians would be safe, but anything above them gets vaporized. Jake thought for a moment. It was risky. One mistake and innocent people would die. But doing nothing meant they would die anyway. Do it. But Amy, I want you to personally check every targeting solution. No mistakes. Yes, sir. The 12 Vorthak ships were getting closer. Jake could see them on the tactical display moving, in formation toward the human vessels. All ships, this is Morrison. We have civilians in danger on the planet. Vengeance will handle the ground targets. Retribution and Defiance will deal with the incoming fleet. Understood, replied Captain Torres. Ryan here. How do you want to play this? Jake studied the enemy formation. The Vorthak ships were moving in a tight group, probably expecting the humans to scatter and run. They think we are going to retreat, Jake said. Let us show them how wrong they are. Full attack, straight into their formation. Sir? Amy looked surprised. They outnumber us 4-1. Yes, but we have something they do not. What is that, sir? Jake smiled grimly. We are really angry. The human ships accelerated toward the Vorthak formation. To the alien commanders, it looked like suicide. 3 small ships charging directly at 12 larger ones. But the humans were not planning to trade shots at long range. The Defiance and Retribution opened fire while still accelerating. Their magnetic cannons sent streams of projectiles across space. The Vorthak return fire missed as the human ships changed course unpredictably. Captain Torres's heavy cruiser took the lead, its thick armor absorbing enemy hits while its massive guns tore into the Vorthak formation. Behind it, the Defiance used the larger ship as cover, picking off enemy vessels with precise shots. Sir, Vorthak ship number 4 is trying to ram us, Amy reported. Let them try, Jake replied. Pete, give me emergency power to engines. The Defiance suddenly accelerated, shooting past the Vorthak ship like a bullet. As it passed, its guns fired point-blank into the enemy vessel's hull. The Vorthak ship exploded from the inside out. In 6 minutes, the entire Vorthak battle group was destroyed. Meanwhile, Captain Chen's destroyer was handling the ground situation. The Vengeance hung in low orbit above the Catalian city, its targeting computers calculating precise strike coordinates. Firing solution locked, reported her weapons officer. All torpedoes programmed for directed detonation. Fire, Chen ordered. 6 nuclear torpedoes dropped from the destroyer like eggs from a bird. They fell toward the planet, their computers, making tiny adjustments to their paths. The explosions were works of art. Each torpedo detonated exactly 50 meters above a Vorthak position. The nuclear fire reached down like the finger of an angry god, vaporizing everything in a small circle while leaving the areas around it untouched. In seconds, 300 Vorthak soldiers simply ceased to exist. The Catalian civilians they had been hiding behind were unharmed. War Chief Thrax watched the tactical reports with growing disbelief. 15 ships destroyed, 300 ground troops vaporized, and the humans had not lost a single vessel. How is this possible? He whispered. Commander Vexgott was shaking. Sir, they fight like nothing we have ever seen. They use their ships like weapons, not vehicles. They turn physics into artillery. They make war into science. Status of the human ships? Minimal damage. To the heavy cruiser, the other 2 show no damage at all. Thrax felt something he had not experienced in decades. Fear. These humans did not fight like any species he knew. They did not worry about honor or glory. They did not hesitate or show mercy to enemies. But they protected civilians with a precision. That was almost supernatural. They fought like machines, but machines that cared about innocent lives. Sir, incoming transmission from the human fleet, the communications officer reported. Thrax almost did not want to answer. But he was still war chief of the Vorthak Empire. He had to maintain his authority. Put it through. Captain Morrison's face appeared on screen. The human looked calm, but his eyes were cold as space. War Chief Thrax, you have 2 choices. Leave this system now, or we will remove you. You have 3 ships, Thrax replied, trying to sound confident. I have over 150. You had 15 more an hour ago. How did that work out for you? Thrax felt his confidence cracking. What are you? We are humans, and we do not like bullies. We especially do not like bullies who hide behind children. This is war. Civilians die in war. Not while we are here, Morrison said simply. Leave now, or we will show you what happens when humans stop playing nice. The transmission ended. Thrax stared at the empty screen, trying to understand what he was facing. His species had conquered most of the galaxy by being the most aggressive, the most brutal, the most willing to do anything to win. But these humans were not aggressive. They were something worse. They were efficient. All ships, he ordered reluctantly. Withdraw to minimum safe distance. We need to inform High Command about these dimensional warriors. As the Vorthak fleet pulled back, Thrax sent a priority message. Across the Empire, we have encountered a new species. They call themselves humans. Do not engage without overwhelming force. They are apex predators. He paused, then added one more line that would change galactic history. We may have awakened, something that should have stayed sleeping. The news of the defeat at Catalia spread through Vorthak space like a virus. War Chief Thrax's message reached every Vorthak commander in the Empire. 3 small human ships had destroyed 15 Vorthak vessels without taking damage. Fleetmaster Gorax read the report 3 times before he believed it. He was the supreme commander of all Vorthak military forces, and he had never seen a battle report like this one. Impossible, he muttered, sitting in his command chamber aboard the massive battleship Void Render. No species can fight like this. His aide, Sub-Commander Kralnex, shifted nervously. Sir, War Chief Thrax has never been defeated before. If he says these humans are dangerous, then we will crush them with superior numbers, Gorax interrupted. Assemble the Grand Fleet, every available ship. I want 200 vessels ready for battle. Sir, that is our largest force ever. Are you sure we need so many ships for 3 human vessels? Gorax looked at the battle footage again. The human ships moved like living things, not machines. They anticipated enemy moves before the Vorthak made them. They fought with a combination of advanced technology and primal cunning that made no sense. Better to use too much force than too little, he decided. These humans will learn what happens when they interfere with the Vorthak Empire. Meanwhile, Captain Jake Morrison was discovering that the dimensional rift worked both ways. Sir, our engineers have figured out how to use the dimensional drive, Commander Pete Sullivan reported from the engine room. We can return to Earth and come back here. Jake thought about this news. 3 ships had been enough to defeat a Vorthak battle group, but War Chief Thrax still had a massive fleet. The Catalians needed more help than 3 ships could provide. Pete, how long would a round trip take? 6 hours, sir. The dimensional rift is stable. Do it. Go back to Earth and tell them what we found here. We need reinforcements. The Defiance slipped back through the tear in space. Jake found himself looking at familiar stars again, with Mars hanging red in the distance. But now Earth looked different, to him. Smaller. More vulnerable. Earth Defense Command listened to Jake's report with growing amazement and horror. Admiral Kate Foster, the head of EDC operations, studied the battle footage with the eyes of a career military officer. You are telling me there is an entire empire that conquers planets for fun? She asked. Yes, ma'am. They have destroyed dozens of species. They use civilians as shields. They enjoy killing. Admiral Foster was quiet for a long moment. Then she activated her communicator. All commands, this is Admiral Foster. Authorization, Alpha 77. Implement Operation Righteous Fury. I want a full battle group ready to deploy in 4 hours. Ma'am? Jake looked confused. Captain Morrison, you just showed us that there are monsters in the galaxy. The Earth Defense Coalition exists to protect humanity and our allies. The Catalians are now our allies. 4 hours later, Jake led a fleet of 15 ships back through the dimensional rift. The battlecruiser Defiance was joined by Admiral Foster's flagship, the Dreadnought Fury, along with 12 other warships carrying Marine Expeditionary Forces. When the human fleet appeared in Catalian space, War Chief Thrax felt his confidence die completely. Sir, 15 more human vessels have arrived, Commander Vexgott reported. Some of them are much larger than the first 3. Thrax studied the new ships on his tactical display. The largest one was as big as his own dreadnought, but it looked different. Where Vorthak ships were built to intimidate, human ships were built to kill efficiently. Status of the Grand Fleet: Fleetmaster Gorax will arrive in 18 hours with 200 ships. Good. Maybe numbers will make the difference, but Thrax was wrong about numbers. Admiral Foster's fleet did not wait for the Grand Fleet to arrive. Instead, they did something that changed how the galaxy thought about warfare. Colonel Mike Davis led the first human ground assault in galactic history. His Marines landed on Vorthak-occupied worlds and introduced the aliens to human infantry tactics. The Vorthak had always relied on their superior technology and larger size to win ground battles. They had never faced an enemy that treated every fight like a science experiment. Staff Sergeant Nicole Wang's squad landed on Zerion 7, where the Vorthak had enslaved the local population. The alien garrison outnumbered the humans 10-1 and felt confident about their chances. They were wrong. The humans did not fight like any species the Vorthak knew. They used the terrain like a weapon. They coordinated attacks with orbital support. They adapted their tactics in real time, based on enemy responses. But most terrifying of all, they studied their enemies. Dr. Emma Blake, the fleet's chief scientist, analyzed captured Vorthak equipment and biology. Within hours, she had developed weapons specifically designed to fight Vorthak physiology. Their nervous systems are vulnerable to certain electromagnetic frequencies, she reported to Admiral Foster. We can build devices that will incapacitate them without permanent harm. Why would we want to avoid permanent harm? Asked Colonel Davis. Because fear is more useful than death, Dr. Blake replied. If we can defeat them without killing them, it proves we could have killed them but chose not to. That is a more powerful message than simple destruction. The human forces began broadcasting Dr. Blake's research to Vorthak military frequencies. The message was simple. We have studied you. We know how to defeat you. We know how to kill you. We choose not to. Surrender. The psychological effect was devastating. Lieutenant Commander Steve Park led engineering teams that captured Vorthak facilities and reverse-engineered their technology. But the humans did not just copy alien designs, they improved them. A Vorthak shield generator that took their engineers months to build was redesigned by humans in hours. The new version was smaller, more efficient, and more powerful. How are they doing this? Gorax demanded when he finally arrived with the Grand Fleet. His science officer, Dr. Thex Mara, looked shaken. Sir, they appear to understand our technology better than we do. They see patterns and connections that we missed. It is as if they think differently than we do. What do you mean? We build our technology to work, sir. They build theirs to be perfected. They never stop improving, never stop adapting. Every battle teaches them something new. Gorax studied the tactical display. His 200 ships faced 15 human vessels. By every rule of warfare he knew, this should be an easy victory. But War Chief Thrax's ships were pulling back from the human fleet, refusing to engage. Thrax, explain your retreat, Gorax ordered. Sir, engaging the humans. In direct combat is suicide. They have weapons that ignore shields. They move faster than our targeting systems can track. They fight like what? Like they enjoy it, sir. Not the way we enjoy conquest. They enjoy the puzzle of defeating us. Every time we try a new tactic, they have a counter-tactic ready. It is as if they can see the future. Gorax felt the confidence of 2 centuries of conquest beginning to crack. They are only one species. We have conquered 47 worlds. Sir, I respectfully request that you watch the battle recordings. Before making any decisions, Gorax reviewed the footage of human ships in combat. What he saw made him understand why his warriors were afraid. The humans did not just fight. They evolved during battle. Their tactics changed from moment to moment based on enemy responses. They anticipated Vorthak moves before the Vorthak made them. It was like watching a predator that had studied its prey for years, not minutes. Sir, incoming transmission from the human fleet, his communications officer reported. Put it through. A new human face appeared on screen. This one was older, with short gray hair and cold blue eyes. The uniform was different, more decorated. I'm Admiral Kate Foster of the Earth Defense Coalition. You are Fleetmaster Gorax. I am. You have interfered with Vorthak operations for the last time, human. Surrender now, and I will allow your species to serve the Empire. Admiral Foster smiled. but it was not a pleasant expression. "Fleetmaster, you have misunderstood the situation. You are not here to defeat us. You are here to learn what happens when decent species get tired of bullies. You have 15 ships. I have 200. You had over 250 an hour ago. Where did the rest go?" Gorax checked his tactical display. Admiral Foster was right. 37 of his ships showed as destroyed or disabled. He had not even noticed them being eliminated. "How?" "We do not fight fair, Fleetmaster. We fight to win. And we do not stop until the bullies are gone." The transmission ended. Gorax stared at the empty screen, trying to process what had just happened. His aide spoke quietly. "Sir, perhaps we should consider withdrawal." Gorax had conquered more worlds than any other Vorthak commander in history. He had never retreated from a battle, but he had never faced humans before. "All ships," he ordered reluctantly. "Defensive formation. Do not engage unless fired upon." For the first time in Vorthak history, their grand fleet had been stopped by an inferior force, and they were about to learn that humans were just getting started. The war ended not with a massive battle, but with a simple message broadcast across all Vorthak frequencies. "This is Admiral Kate Foster of the Earth Defense Coalition. The Vorthak Empire has 48 hours to surrender unconditionally. Any ship that does not comply will be removed. Any world that continues hostile operations will be liberated. This is your only warning." Fleetmaster Gorax sat in his command chamber staring at the transmission. Around him, his staff waited for orders that he could not give. In the past week, the humans had done the impossible. They had not just defeated Vorthak forces, they had made them irrelevant. Human engineering teams had captured and reverse-engineered every piece of Vorthak technology. Then they had improved it, and broadcast the improvements to every enslaved species in the galaxy. Dr. Emma Blake's biological research had created non-lethal weapons that incapacitated Vorthak soldiers instantly. But more importantly, she had shared this research with other species, showing them that the Vorthak were not invincible. Colonel Mike Davis's Marines had liberated 17 worlds in 6 days. They moved faster than Vorthak reinforcements, hit harder than Vorthak defenses could handle, and left behind trained local forces that could defend themselves. But the most devastating blow was psychological. Every Vorthak soldier now knew that humans could kill them easily, but chose not to. The message was clear. "We are superior to you in every way, but we are not monsters like you." "Sir," Sub-Commander Kralnek said quietly, "the outer colonies are requesting permission to surrender independently." Gorax closed his eyes. The Vorthak Empire was collapsing from within. Fear of the humans had spread faster than his ships could travel. "How many ships have we lost total?" 83 destroyed, sir. 112 have requested permission to surrender. The remaining ships are unwilling to engage human forces. Gorax had spent his entire life building the Vorthak Empire into the most feared force in the galaxy. Now, a species that had existed in galactic space for less than 2 weeks had destroyed everything he had worked for. "Open a channel to the human flagship." Admiral Foster's face appeared on screen. She looked tired but determined. "Fleetmaster Gorax, have you reached a decision?" "Admiral Foster, I do not understand your species. You could have destroyed us completely." "Why did you not?" Foster was quiet for a moment. "Because destruction is not the goal, Fleetmaster. The goal is peace. Your people can learn to live without conquering others. And if we refuse, then you will discover why every species in this galaxy now calls us when they have problems they cannot solve." Gorax understood. The humans had not just defeated the Vorthak Empire, they had replaced it as the dominant military force in the galaxy. But instead of ruling through fear, they ruled through protection. "I surrender the Vorthak Empire to your authority," he said formally. "I do not want your empire," Foster replied. "I want you to stop hurting innocent people. Can you do that?" Yes. Yes, we can do that." "Good. Report to Catalia for processing. The Galactic Rehabilitation Council will help your people find a new purpose." The transmission ended. Gorax sat in silence, trying to understand what had just happened. His empire was gone, but somehow he felt relieved. On Catalia, Captain Jake Morrison stood on the bridge of the Defiance and watched Vorthak's ships arriving to surrender. Each one was processed by mixed human and Catalian teams, the crews interviewed and evaluated. Admiral Zextar's image appeared on the communications screen. The Catalian leader looked different now. The fear and desperation were gone, replaced by wonder and gratitude. Captain Morrison, my people do not know how to thank you. You saved our entire species. You called for help, Jake replied simply. We answered. But why? We are not your people. You owe us nothing. Jake thought about the question. Admiral, when we first arrived, you were facing extinction. Children were about to die. Did it matter that they were not human children? No, Zextar admitted. Life is life. Exactly. That is why we came. That is why we will keep coming when others need help. Dr. Velnara joined the conversation from her research station. Captain, we have made a discovery about the dimensional beacon. It was not the first time it was used. What do you mean? We found records in the artifact's memory core. It has been activated before, many times across galactic history. Always, when a peaceful species faced extinction, and every time the same beings answered the call. Jake felt a chill run down his spine. You mean? Humanity has been the galaxy's protector for thousands of years. You just did not know it because the dimensional barrier kept your memories separate. On Earth, the news of humanity's role in galactic affairs changed everything. The revelation that humans were connected to an ancient network of protectors sparked a revolution in human thinking. Dr. Emma Blake led teams that studied the dimensional technology. They discovered that humanity was not alone in the universe. There were other human civilizations in parallel dimensions, all connected by the same protective instinct. We are part of something larger, she reported to the United Earth Council. A network of species that evolved to protect others. When innocent people call for help across dimensions, we answer. Lieutenant Commander Steve Park's engineering teams worked with alien scientists to build a permanent dimensional gateway. The technology would allow humans to respond quickly to threats anywhere in the galaxy. But the most important work was being done by people like Colonel Mike Davis and Staff Sergeant Nicole Wang. They were training local defense forces on liberated worlds, teaching them how to protect themselves. The goal is not to make them dependent on us, Davis explained to his officers. The goal is to make sure they never need to call for help again. The Galactic Rehabilitation Council became humanity's greatest achievement. Led by Dr. Blake and Admiral Zextar, it helped former Vorthak worlds transition from conquest to cooperation. Even the Vorthak themselves were changing. Gorax, stripped of his military rank, now worked as a coordinator for disaster relief operations. His knowledge of Vorthak military assets helped convert warships into hospital ships and supply vessels. It is strange, he told Dr. Blake during one of their meetings. My people lived for war for so long, but helping others, it feels better than conquering them. That is because you were never meant to be conquerors, she replied. Every species has the capacity for good. You just needed someone to show you how. 6 months after the first dimensional rift, Captain Morrison received a priority transmission from Earth Command. Jake, this is Admiral Foster. We have detected 7 more distress beacons across different dimensions. Are you ready for another mission? Jake looked around his bridge. Amy Rodriguez was studying the dimensional readings. Pete Sullivan was preparing the engines for another jump. Sam Carter was already plotting courses to the beacon sources. Admiral, we are ready. What is the situation? Multiple species under threat. Some from conquest, some from natural disasters, some from technological accidents. They all need help. Jake smiled. Then we answer the call. As the human fleet prepared to jump to another dimension, Jake thought about what Dr. Velnara had told him. Humanity had been doing this for thousands of years, protecting the innocent, fighting the bullies, answering calls for help. All ships, this is Morrison, he announced. We have people to save and problems to solve. Let us remind the galaxy why they call us when they need help. The dimensional rift opened, and the human fleet disappeared into the space between realities. Behind them, they left a galaxy that was safer, kinder, and more hopeful than it had been in centuries. The Vorthak Empire was gone, replaced by the Galactic Protection Alliance. Species that had lived in fear now lived in peace. And somewhere in the dark between dimensions, other distress calls were waiting. But they would not wait long. When innocent, people called for help. When evil thought it had won, when hope seemed lost, humanity would answer. They always had. They always would. The message that had become humanity's motto spread across 1,000 worlds in 12 dimensions. When you need help, call for humanity, we answer. And in the depths of space, other ancient beacons waited for their turn to summon the sleeping warriors who protected the innocent across all realities. The galaxy was safe. For now. But when it was not, humanity would be there, because that was what humans did. They answered the call.